So we're here at SIGGRAPH Software, and these guys are known for a software called Houdini. Now, Houdini is a very powerful software for nodal-based, procedural-based animation and effects. Now, of course, you can do characters, but here's something you can see, kind of some particles connected to a character. And what that is, if we kind of scroll through this little movie, but we can kind of scroll through some of these pieces here. You can see these effects being put together. Now, all of this is being controlled over here. You can see this over here with the nodal-based structure. Now, what that means is that there is a lot of dependencies that can be built up, very complex interactions between geometry and particles and all kinds of other things that just are irreplaceable. If you're in a big facility, you have at least one copy of Houdini, and oftentimes a lot of copies of Houdini to put this kind of stuff together. Now, it's very complex, it's hard to learn, and so what they've done is actually make it very easy to get a hold of. So the Apprentice version of this is actually free. The HD version is only $99. It's a non-commercial version, but it lets you really go out there and build your reel, build your test. So if you're a student or even a professional that's looking to add in Houdini to your pipeline, this is just a really, really great program. I wish we would see this with more 3D companies, because it really gives people the opportunity and the access that they need to really get their fingers wet and really get into the industry and this software specifically. So again, this is SIGGRAPH Software, and the program is called Houdini. So we're here at Pixelogic, and over 10 years ago, when I was at SIGGRAPH, I came by and I said, we saw this, they were painting in 3D, and I was like, it'd be really good if you could, how do you export the OBJs? And there was kind of this, why would you want to export the OBJs? We're painting in 3D. And we were like, well, that might be actually pretty useful. Well, it turned out I wasn't the only one asking for that. There was a lot of people asking for being able to export models, and now being able to work with these models is something that they've really focused on, is being able to export and interact with other 3D packages. And ZBrush has become one of the industry standards for this. And what it really specializes in is not only being able to do this effectively, but manage millions and millions of polygons and being able to simply paint like clay your objects. And one of the things that they're showing here is the new 4 beta, which is actually letting you do what they call shadow casting, which is painting, literally just painting 3D. It's a huge jump from what we've seen in the past, and definitely something that's worth checking out. They've added a lot of new tools. They've sped up the workflow, and still, this is always, when it comes to that organic artists really getting into the middle of this, ZBrush is always one to check out from Pixelogic. So we're here at 3D Coat. Now 3D Coat, it looks, at the beginning, it looks a little bit like ZBrush. You can sculpt in it, you can do 3D painting, you can do UV mapping. These are a lot of the little bits of pieces that you can put together, but it also has this great topology tool, or has a great topology tool. This is an auto topology. So what you're seeing here is you're actually able to sketch a guide as to where you want your topology to go. How do you want this to be reconnected? Because what you're doing is taking a very high resolution object and then reducing it and rebuilding where all of those polygons are going to go and how they're going to be built. Now, this is automatically snapping to that surface, and it is putting together. So they're simply saying, okay, we're going to need polygons here. We're going to need polygons that are going to go down here. We need these areas to cover. So by doing that, it's really guiding the program, the solution. And so once that's all put together, and it's literally just sketching on the model to put that together. And then once that's done, what it's going to do is actually build a mesh. Now this mesh is driven from that. Here you can see that they want to have it mirrored. You can set a target poly count that's going on there. And here's the model. So here you have the model that has been generated from it, and it's been guided. How that mesh works is dependent on those sketches that were put there, and that is just a very useful tool, in case you're wondering. Something you definitely want to check out. It's about, I think, $289 or $300. I think the $289 is the show price, but definitely worth checking out. I think they have a free demo that you can download. And again, the program is called 3D Coat. So while we've been looking at some other stock options, sometimes you need absolute detail. I mean, you really need it to be totally accurate. You're working in something that can be very, very high-end film or TV, or it can be medical, it can be illustrative, and it has to have all the detail, and it has to be correct. And that's what this company specializes in. This is Zygote, and what they specialize in, is, as you see here, is the actual, and you can see CG, you can see all the different pieces here put together, and this is kind of a more visual version of this, but what they do is they specialize in the human body. And so when you're looking for the app, like we actually bought one, we had to do some animations of a heart, and we needed it beating and trying to model a photorealistic heart with all the pieces moving and everything else. We really wanted somebody else to do that for us. And that's why we came to Zygote to do it, because they already have that built, they already have it animated, it's all ready to go, it's got all the texture maps. And while it may not be necessarily cheap, if you are doing that kind of thing, it is a fraction of what it would cost you at twice the quality that you could do yourself in most cases. And so it's definitely worth checking out if you're looking for these absolutely accurate pieces of models, whether it's the heart or the whole body or the skull. These are the things that you need to look at, and if this is the thing you're looking at for medical, education, and even broadcast or film, Zygote is definitely worth checking out. So here we're at Aquino Computer Graphics, and they make a product called Polytrans. And you're probably wondering what Polytrans is for. Well, one of the big things that really, gets you caught up when you're in production is you've got all these different 3D packages and all these different scientific visualization software and all these different pieces, and they're all generating different kinds of geometry, and it can turn into a real mess trying to get the geometry from one package to another package. So that's what these guys do here. So what Polytrans does is it helps you convert one model set to another model set. So for example, we had a project where we had to do a lot of molecular stuff, where all the molecular data is online. We can bring it all down in PDB files, but we need to get them to either Lightwave or Cinema 4D or something like that to actually render it out. But there was no way to get in between, and this is the software that we actually use for doing this. And so this is a big translator program. It is the biggest in the market as far as getting this stuff back and forth, and it's just really just the standard for pulling this stuff back and forth, and it just allows you to, it seems like a simple problem. I just want to get one model from here to there, but it turns into something that you need some professionals to help you with, and that's what Aquino Graphics does. So I'm here at Dimensional Imaging, and I'm getting a little bit, I feel like I'm getting a little bit of a suntan here. I got a lot of light going on here, but this is, what this actually is it's a different kind of 3D scanner in some ways. What you have here is 4 Canon cameras, and they're going to give me some oblique angles on my face. Now, as we know, some of you know, who have done some image modeling, there's a couple angles that you need to actually get that information. Once you can identify the same points from these 4 positions, I can triangulate the position of every part of this surface as it starts to wrap around. So that's what these guys do. So what they have here is, I'm going to walk around this guy right here. There I am. It didn't happen quite that fast, but it happened pretty fast, a couple minutes. So the capture is instant, and one of the big advantages of this is instead of something that's slowly working its way through, it's actually, boom, it captures that moment, so it's able to get a very, very, very accurate 3D model with the texture maps. And this face, while it doesn't have the rest of my head, this is actually the thing that we're going to identify. So if we're looking at something as, if you want something to stand in for somebody, or you want to start with that as for a digital double, for instance, what we're really going to identify is that face. And getting that, every little structure there is key. And having it happen in an instant means that it's all going to be very, very accurate. Now you can use it for a lot more than entertainment, medical, prosthetics, all kinds of things that you might want to add onto it for visualization. And so it's a pretty powerful tool. Now it's built for industry. It's about $40,000, and so it's not something you're gonna buy for the backyard. Although I would suggest it if you had the means. Once again, this is Dimensional Imaging.